Hello fellow viewer and welcome to the first ever episode of JudgeLikeMike. In this series, viewers can send me a replay of their matches and I will judge them by luck, performance and overall game knowledge. We'll start off with a banger match from a YouTuber. He played a very toxic deck, namely Robot Clock, into another extremely toxic deck, namely max level Necro, playing with Seadog. So it's toxic versus toxic. Let's see how they approach each other. If you want to be part of this series, just make sure to send me a replay of one of your matches that you think is exciting to watch. Also, let me know in the comments what you think this player should be judged. Let's hop right into the game and judge the out of this. He's playing against a Rain member. Rain is the best clan in the world right now with, in regards of the trophies at the end of the seasons. So every single member of this clan is actually extremely good, like top of the world style players. So I'm really curious how this one turns out. Necro Seadog is a super toxic deck, especially if you include Frost with it, because Frost will make have the wave more armor, so it's harder to take down bosses, monsters, whatever, as soon as he merges Frost. Additionally to that, he has way less mana, because Frost, as you see right here, will just take away the mana gain of our player wing here. That's the second big thing. And whenever he still manages to set up something decently on the board, he will also destroy the creatures or units again on the board by sending him these little vets or whatever that's called. Except that one right here, bam, and the clock is gone. So it has two mechanics that he allows himself to downgrade the units of our player here. It's the barrels or whatever they're called, as well as the hero ability that triggers every now and then, and downgrades the creeps even further. Now he just lost another robot, and it also now triggered, so he will lose another 2 units if he doesn't merge them out. And he didn't. So far, I think it's going more or less fine. I did miss some dodges of these shaman mechanics, like the barrels are hard to dodge because you don't have too much time, but I think you should have definitely have dodged some others where you had the possibility to. Now it was very close. Snowflake just got off cooldown a second after it should have, which is a shame, because otherwise he could have killed the whole wave, while the enemy didn't really have time to gather up all the monsters that he killed within a second, and that would have given Wing here quite an advantage in regards of the gold. That was a very quick merge out here. That was super good. So he didn't lose any unit. Yeah, I think he starts to pay more attention now about the way he's supposed to be playing this. It is very annoying after all, especially because you can't even merge the stuff as long as he sends his little purple Thanos creature here. But even though they're still like silenced, they can be merged out just a few seconds after it got touched by the little Thanos thingy. So keep that in mind whenever you play against Necro. It's not like only because they have chains on it, they're not able to be merged. It is the case that they can be merged, even though the chains are on them. I don't know the exact timing. I think it was like 2 seconds or 3 seconds after Thanos ran through. I just keep on calling him Thanos. Yeah, Wing is doing the right thing here. He is getting all his damage units in the middle as good as he can, as good as the enemy lets him here. Lost another unit. I don't know if it was... Maybe it could have been not mergeable anyway because it was still silenced, but I'm not so sure though. Timing is very low. He saved that one on the left side now. The robot, that was pretty good. it is a tough matchup. I've played this exact matchup quite a few times before, and it is possible to beat the enemy, but it's really hard because the toxicity on the side of the Seadog is pretty damn tough. And it's really hard to survive with robot long enough to actually make a difference. You also need a little bit of luck that your robots that you have won't get downgraded while you're trying to go for a clock board, because you can't out damage the other guy. He will out damage you in the late game. That's one downside of this deck, because Seadog is still better damage wise, but if he manages to get a decent clock board, he can definitely out damage him by taking away so much damage. But it's hard to find the right timing, and you also need to dodge a lot of stuff and be ready whenever something hits you. So being on a low amount of mana is never really a good thing, and when you play against toxic decks you should always save up a little bit, which he does. He's playing really good. You have to keep in mind it's Frost, so he will get he will not get too much mana in the first place. That was a very good merge there, just to save his tier 3 there, and it even became a tier 4 robot. That's awesome actually. Yeah, I would have merged out that clock, but again, the timing is very short, and you can't have everything perfectly inside of your eye radar all the time. So there's just too many things going on. But it's looking very good so far. I mean, the Seadog player has a tier 6 Harlequin, which is not what he wanted, I suppose. I mean, tier 6 Frost would be nice, a tier 6 Seadog would be even better, like everything other than Mime and the Harlequin. But it is what it is. At least it's a Harlequin, so he can still get another tier 6 whenever he wants, or reaches that again. I think Wing is really doing a good job in trying to set up damage as good as he can, and also merge out the stuff as good as he can. I would have left both of them drop as well. That was a good job. He could have merged out tier 4, but I'm not sure if this would have been the right decision here, because first of all he needs damage, otherwise at this point of the game, otherwise he won't survive for very long. He also needs 30 merges, which is on the way. Once you have 30 merges, he can slowly but steady start to care about a clock board. Yeah, because the robots themselves, even if he has very little or very few of them on the board, they still do a very good amount of damage. So he could technically have like 2 or 3 robots on the board, and the rest clocks, and that's the point where he will out damage the Seadog. But it needs to happen very quickly and in the right moment. So let's see how Wing does here. I think luck-wise, he had quite a bit of luck so far, so not a lot of vital units got hit. So I guess that's fine. Yeah, talking about luck, did you see the Harlequin in the corner? It was a tier 4, or tier 3, sorry. And it got completely burned and destroyed by everything, while you couldn't do anything about it because it was permanently a ghost on it, it was frost on it, or it had the Necro burn on it, so that was quite unfortunate. Other than that, I think he's yeah, it's not the worst of luck you can possibly have. He still has his tier 4s in the middle, and it just keeps on hitting everything else. I also have to say he's playing it pretty smart, because the one thing that I see many new players do wrong is whenever they play against something that destroys your board, like Shaman, Seadog, Necro, whatever, that downgrades your stuff, they make their board very small. Which is a big mistake, because let's say you have only half of the units of your board and half of it is empty. Therefore, you will have a lot of high tiers on your board because you keep on merging out the low ones. That also means that your enemy hits, let's say, a tier 4 unit and downgrades this one easily to tier 3, while it could have hit a tier 1 unit instead. If you had a full board, the chance is much higher that it hits something else than your highest unit and hits a tier 1, which is first of all easier to merge out, way easier. And second of all, even if it hits you, if it deletes the tier 1, you lose 1 unit on that tier 1. If your tier 4 unit gets downgraded to tier 3, that means you will lose, let me calculate real quick, a tier 3 unit is worth 4 units. A tier 4 unit is worth 8 units. So if your tier 4 gets downgraded to 3, you will actually lose 4 units instead of if you would just delete the tier 1, because that's when you only lose 1 unit. Tier 4 is a loss of 4 units. If it's a tier 5 that gets downgraded to a tier 4, it's even 8 units that you just lose by 1 shaman or by that 1 downgrade that you get. So it's very important that your board is full. So he has a bigger chance to hit low units. He does a very good job at this. I think he will get quite a bit of skill points because he's definitely used to play against toxic decks like this. It's also very close to 40 merges, which is great. I think starting from 40 merges, I would definitely try to go for a clock board here. Because, yeah, the damage... With every treasure that he finds, he will also increase his damage. And I think in the late game, he would lose the damage fight. If it's like pure damage without clocks. So his win condition here is to go for a clock board in the right moment. Let's see whenever he decides to do this. To be honest, this tier 3 units clocks that he just got downgraded, I would have merged them out. Because that's like 4 units that he lost just like that. Instead of, if he merged it out, then he would have saved quite a few units. And additionally to that, he maybe even gets a robot because they were on the perfect spot to get a robot for, like in the 6 middle spaces. Happens, you can't focus on everything. So it's way easier to just watch and judge, if you know what I mean, instead of doing it yourself, because you're most likely watching or thinking about something else while you're doing this. Also very smart now. You see he has 14 units on the board because Tribunal is about to appear. He didn't put down the 15th unit, because if that's the case, he would get 8 units downgraded. And just because he didn't drop the last unit before Tribunal appear, he only lost 7 downgrades. So very smart move here. That shows he has some game knowledge, some of the fundamentals, and it's looking very bad, man. Yep, that's it. Nice game. This really is a hard matchup, I have to say, for the robot clock, but it's definitely doable. They still did 1 billion damage. That's pretty crazy for toxic versus toxic. It's really not too bad. Yeah, alright. Decent items. Wow. Okay, very decent item, level 12 Necro item, holy cow. Yeah, that was a disgusting match, yeah, very well played. So, let's get to the judgment. The rating is going to be from 0 to 10, while 0 is the worst and 10 is the best. We're going to judge the luck, aka RNG, of this match. We're going to judge the performance of the player in this match. And we're also going to judge the overall game knowledge that he showed in this game. So let's break it down. I think the RNG for Wing in this game was pretty okay, since he was running into a Seadog with Necro. Both of them work with proc chance, that they do horrible things to you. That didn't happen too often in my opinion, so I think RNG was more or less on Wing's side in this game, so I'll give him an 8 for his luck. Performance! In this matchup, it's all about avoiding as many downgrades as you can while still maintaining the damage on the important spots and have your board full. So he definitely understood how to play against it. He also did quite a few very quick merges to just keep the value up. On the other hand, I did see a couple of merges that I would definitely have done. He maybe didn't see them. I mean, it's chaos on the battlefield and it's much harder if you play yourself, obviously. But there were a few merges that he could have done to make the game even a little bit easier. So I give him a solid 8 here. Game knowledge. To be able to be very successful with Robot Clock, you kinda need to understand how much damage your enemy does to know when the right timing is to go for the clock board. One of the mistakes that I see the Robot Clock players do the most is to go for a big clock board very early on in the game while they didn't have enough robot merges done already. I think Wing did a great job in this regard. He knew exactly how much of a threat that Seadog is and when more or less Seadog will go down with enough clocks. He also paid attention to details like only having 14 units on the board whenever a tribunal appears, and he gets downgraded. And in regards of game knowledge, I think he showcased here that he knows a lot about the game, also a lot about the units, the damage they do, and so on. Just small little knowledge advantages that you have when you're being a good player. I also saw him press the mana upgrade for the summoner in a very crucial situations instead of just merging them out, which is another sign that he knows a lot about the game and the value that the units provide. He also succeeded in the match, which is really not easy against a Necro Seadog on a maximum level, especially with the level 12 Necro item, so that's pretty tough to beat. Overall, I think he did a fantastic job using his general knowledge about the game to actually compete against this opponent, and therefore I would definitely give him a solid 9.5 out of 10 for game knowledge. Just let me know in the comments what you think about the match and the performance, and if you want to be a part of it, just make sure to send me a match so I can judge that. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know in the comments what you want to see next. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. Check out the better prices in the Rush Royale market and use the code GodLikeMike, or just see what else I got. Either way, I wish you a lovely day. See you next time.